Hey all you cool cats and kittens, welcome back to another edition of CCS Sons Workshop. I've got a custom shoe rack that I built this time, and I'm going to show you how I did it. As always, I started with a rough sketch of dimensions and a concept that I wanted to execute. Very schematic, but with a couple critical dimensions. I based this whole project around using a couple boards of rough sawn cedar that I had in the garage, and the rest was all scraps of Douglas fir and pine that together made a really nice color combination. Here you can see the rough sawn configuration of the couple cedar boards that I had. After I had the cedar cut to length, I had to run it through the joiner and planer to finish up the milling process before I ripped it on the table saw. I'm creating the horizontal rails that'll create the two shelves for the shoes. And with all the horizontal pieces ripped, it was time to start laying out the two horizontal shelves. Next, I'm creating blocks that'll serve as spacers for the slats in all the horizontal shelves. Check the lessons learned at the end of the video for my discussion on what I think is an alternate, better method of doing this. And in the words of my dear friend SpongeBob, and the last two production pieces that I had to make were the legs and the horizontal rails of the leg support system. So here I'm ripping the legs, 4 pieces out of very clear Douglas fir. And then I cut to length the horizontal pieces of the leg supports and ripped those as well. I used pocket holes for the joinery on the leg support structure. I thought about fancier joinery, but I had to remind myself that one, I'm not very good at it, and two, this is a shoe rack that's going to be hiding in the closet. I then added some glue, lined everything up in a right angle clamp, and made the connections with the pocket hole and glue. All the supplies that I use in my video I'll list in the description below. If anybody's interested in purchasing or finding any of these products, it'll be below. Next, I had to mark where the bottom and top horizontal shelves were going to sit. I used 8 inches for the bottom shelf and 16 inches for the top. And now's a great time to remind you that if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and consider a thumbs up if you enjoy what you're watching today. The nice folks over at Starbond Adhesives sent me a sample pack of all their products, and I thought this was a perfect opportunity to try it out on this knot hole. I used the brown medium gap filler to fill this knot hole and then sand it out. In this pack I had thin, medium thick, medium brown, and medium thick black. Those are all their products, and they have an accelerator that you can spray on the adhesive after you use it to harden it instantly. All the adhesives come with a couple different size tips for the adhesive. For this application I used one of the larger tips. You just cut the top off, put it on the bottle of adhesive, and start filling the hole. If you have a crack or a hole that extends beyond the plane of your board, you might want to use some painter's tape, as I did, to help contain the adhesive in your crack. I do have a special coupon code that Starbond gave me. It's in the description below, so if you're considering picking some of this stuff up, go check out the description and use the coupon. And then a few passes with the sander to knock off the top residue of the adhesive, and you're left with a really nice product. In my delirium of endless hours of sanding, I thought I'd try a different camera angle. Let me know in the comments below if you think this is interesting or annoying. Next, I added a 1/8 round over to all the exposed edges of the leg system. I also added the round over to the exposed edges of the horizontal shelves. And to finish the project, I just used Danish oil. Really brought out all the colors and added some contrast. I thought it looked really nice. And then it was time for assembly. And just like that, my better half has a nice looking and functional shoe rack to help clear up some closet space. I'm really pleased with how this turned out. It's simple, elegant, and functional. For those of you who are interested in the lessons learned, there were a couple in this project, nothing earth-shattering. The first is Danish oil and glue. You want to be careful with where the dried glue residue is, as it looks a little funny with the stain on top of it, so make sure you clear up that dried glue. And I mentioned the spacers. I may have done this differently, possibly use a half lap for that entire continuation of spacers rather than the individual blocks. Those were kind of a pain. And finally, an obvious one but an important one is when screwing into the end of those long legs, be careful of splitting, as it can happen. I had to redo one of the legs because of that. Thanks so much for watching CCS Sons Workshop. I appreciate it, and we'll see you in the next video. Take care.